What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Weekly Brew. This is episode number 2 in the series. I thought this was primarily just going to be for craft businesses, but I'm thinking it's actually going to apply to most small businesses as well. So be sure to share this with your friends if any of them are starting a new venture and they're looking for strategies, tips, techniques to try and grow that business. So today we're actually going to look at the music industry. Not the music industry like Justin Bieber, Drake, and the artists themselves. Instead, we're going to look at the hardware, the recording artists, the producers, those people who have those giant studios you see, similar to what Dr. Dre has been shown to have in his house, those types of things. So before I get into this, I want to give a little bit of a backstory. So I have had to start shaping my audio to try and make it more presentable for you guys, as well as just more palatable for myself. And I didn't know about these things, but now I do. And the way that this worked was years ago, you've seen pictures of studios where there are racks and racks of hardware units. And those hardware units cost thousands of dollars. EQs, compressors, saturators. I don't even know all of the names of the items that were in the studio, but what I do know is now there's a new trend. I don't know how long this trend has been growing, but more and more recording artists are beginning their careers in smaller studios, but are still able to compete with the likes of Dr. Dre and the other big recording artists who I'm not familiar with because I'm a video guy. But my point is, let's get into how they can compete when they're recording in a room this size and the $1 million studios have square footage, have room treatment, and have all these fancy things. What do we have now that we didn't have back then? Plugins, hardware emulations. And what plugins are? Literally lines of code that are made to replicate the sound shaping capabilities of the hardware units that you used to see in studios. Those big boxes, now at the click of a button, you can emulate on your computer. Now, why is this important for business? Well, this can help us guide our decision-making in taking our digital products, regardless of what that digital product is, to market. Today, I want to go over 5 main things that I noticed that apply to my business, and I think will apply to yours. Before we get into that, I'd like to take a second just to mention, I'm going to do my first giveaway next week. I think at this point in time when this video comes out, the first ASMR will be posted. That's number 1. I'm hoping the first build is posted. If not, it should be posted this week. And the next build, I'm going to try to give some sort of incentive to the audience, very small, a little giveaway. And we're going to see how a giveaway goes with a small audience. And we're going to test out how a sales strategy that we're going to talk about today applies after we do a giveaway with so few followers. Okay? Point number 1, hardware replaced by software means no limits on inventory, no limits on input pricing, and no limits to improvements. Now, let's think about that for a minute. Economies of scale. The more you produce, the lower your cost per unit should be. Kind of the thinking. Myself, batch production in the woodworking shop. If I'm going to make 1, I probably have everything set up to make 5 or 10, unless you are a complete Neanderthal, that's what we call it, when you only use hand tools. And even then, when you have your marking gauges out, etc., you can still do a batch. Anyways, no limits to input pricing. When I build a batch of coffee stands, I need 10 times as much material to make 10. And no limits to improvements or inventory. I don't need to hold 100 coffee stands. If they're digital, I don't have to worry about the square footage. And the improvements, here's version 2, here's version 3. You like your Chemex? Perfect. I don't know the other names, but you like the other one? Fine. How does that apply to us? If you have a course that you used to run in public, in private, but in person, you could only have so many people in the room. If you were making improvements, the people who had the first one were like, man, I'm not paying again to come watch you produce the same thing, basically, with a few tweaks. With these hardware emulations, yes, they are a part of a process. They are not an end use. That's the difference. With a course, if I give you a trial, you can watch the course and be done with it. If I give you a hardware emulation, you're going to use that throughout the process of sculpting your music, your audio, your sound design, whatever. My point is, there's no limit to those things, and that is going to make a huge difference in the way that we deliver our products, especially as craftspeople. Because now, more than ever, it's not about how many people you can fit in your shop. It is not about how many people you can connect in person and bring to a park or to a museum or to a woodworking room. I know a friend of mine has a woodworking room in his condo. I could only fit 20 people in there if I was going to run a class. Now we can look at, we can put this online. There's no limit to our input pricing. There's no cost to material. I mean, repair and maintenance, fine. But for the most part, the more you sell, the better your scaling is, the better your economies are in terms of cost per unit. Once you've recovered that development cost, you're rolling. That's something to think about. Hardware replaced by software. What do you have to offer that you used to offer as a standalone unit, a physical product, tangible item that now you can offer in software form, digital form, some form of intangibility. So now you can increase the number of items going out, lower your cost per unit, and deliver just about the same good. Now, you might be thinking, well, Rick, give me an example. Okay, I will. Number one, woodworking magazines. When I started woodworking, my uncle gave me physical copies of these magazines. I thought, wow, this is great. The problem was every magazine was just advertisements. What am I getting from that? Nothing. Okay, well, why am I going to pay for that? Now those advertisements are banner ads on the side of their website posts. They're basically professional blogs. The same thing goes for woodworking books and courses. You used to buy a DVD. You used to buy a VHS. You're only going to sell one of those. That's fine. But once you improve that video, the quality, the content, whatever that might be, I'm not buying another one. Whereas with this model of replacing your hardware with software and being able to continually improve, you're going to bring more customers to your front door who say, yeah, I'll purchase that. And the cost for you to improve it and improve it over time is nominal. Let's get into the next point. Deals can and do seem more appealing. Now, when I look at plugins, for the high-end plugins, the replications of real hardware units that you want, not the cheap code, but for respectable company code, hundreds of dollars. It is not uncommon, and this was eye-opening to my girlfriend, which I thought was amusing. It was eye-opening to me, but at that point, my eyes were already open. It's not uncommon to see a sale of 90% off. 90% off. That's crazy. It's not crazy. It is not crazy. They're not expecting to make $300. Maybe they do catch the odd person who's in a bind. They need the emulation right that day. They'll pay the $300. In traditional business, you price the product at the price that you want. You put it on sale, your margin gets squashed. Now, you put the price at some number that you would be happy to take, but really aren't expecting, and you put it on sale for the number that you want. When you put that number on sale, 300 down to 50 or more, 300 down to 30, whatever, I don't care. People think, wow, what a deal. No, the real value is $30. The real value is $30. But even at $30, your profit margin is fantastic. Now, I am not telling you to misprice your objects, items, however you want to phrase it, for the digital space. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is, yeah, it might be worth $300 to someone in a bind, but every day of the week it's worth $30 to $50 to the normal person. Not to mention the scale. We come back to the scale. How many people are going to buy it at $30? Terrible thing happened recently with one of these music companies. The flood in Germany wiped them out, destroyed their hardware units, which are what they use to create the software emulations of these units. They ran a sale, I think, for 2 days. The numbers were astounding. I think over $1 million. Now, I'm not saying that your business is going to do $1 million in 2 days on a general Tuesday. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there are a lot of people that get behind the value in these digital products. And even though they see the price at 300 and go, whew, that's excessive. At 30, the psychology of it has now turned them to think, oh, well, it's worth $30. They normally sell it for 300. Now, as a consumer, you have to be mindful of that, but I'm not talking about consumers. I'm talking about the producers. So maybe with your course, you'd be happy to take 75 from someone on a general day, but to your loyal followers, you're going to put on a sale and give them a code and say, if you follow me this week only, 80% off. Well, guess what? You're still probably going to be pretty pleased with the however much money that is. $15, we'll call it. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. On to the next point. Pay what you want. This is a more extensive topic than we have time for right now. We're already at 11 minutes, it would appear. This is a more extensive topic than just a point in the discussion. So we might have a separate video on this, but I'm actually going to employ this strategy with the item that I give away and all of my plans. I don't believe in selling plans. I hate it. I think it's short-termism, but I understand why people do it. Whether you don't have time to do a production run of your product, whether you just don't care to, I don't care what your reason is. I don't believe in it. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't. But here is an alternative, and I love this one. Pay what you want. I went to a music company. I needed a plugin. They wanted $20. They said, if you don't want to pay $20, that's okay. But instead, would you be willing to pay something else? If so, click here, pay what you want. Okay. I didn't know what I wanted to pay, but I thought, I think I want this thing. I'll give you $10 for it. I don't know how much I'm going to use it. I haven't used it yet. I know I'm going to. And there was another one that was, oh, this one's also recommended to go with that one. Okay, well, I definitely don't know if I want that one, but I also know you put effort into that, and it's going to create value for me at some point. So you know what? I'll give you $5. They got something better than nothing. Now, the pay what you want strategy I like because you can also give people the alternative and say, hey, instead of paying me something, pay me with something that isn't monetary value. Why don't you subscribe, like, follow? The way that people run their giveaways, you want to enter, like the page, subscribe, follow, share, this, that, the other, comment on Twitter, comment on YouTube. Great stuff. But if this is a digital product where your cost has already been recovered in the first few sales, perfect. Take advantage of that. Use the pay what you want model. And instead of paying monetarily, if they're not going to contribute anything and they just want to take it, charge them a like. Charge them a follow. Build your audience. Because you know what? If I saw that, first of all, I already gave the $5 and $10 away. But second of all, I would be more inclined to keep up with them if I knew, well, they've already given me something worth my effort and my time. And I know they put their effort into it. So yeah, let's see what else they're doing. Now, audiences don't pay. We talked about that last week. Controversial to a degree. Yes, sponsorship's great. We'll talk about that in another video. But if you have an audience that is engaged with you, you have a better chance of your conversions going up. So instead of converting 1% of 5,000 people, maybe now you're converting 1% of 50,000. Makes a big difference. Next point, giveaways can cost you $0 in material inputs. Why is that important? I'm going to run a coffee giveaway of some sort, something related to the Weekly Brew next week. Oh, nearly slipped up, nearly gave it away. But we're not gonna give away what it is just yet. I'm gonna do that next week. I'm not sure what the dates are. Maybe I'll put it in the description. You're gonna see it if you're following and liking. It's gonna be the cost of entry. Pay to play. But it's going to cost me material to make this item to give away. If I had plans available for this item, which I will, pay what you want, I could give those away as well, as I plan to. It costs me money to give my art away. If you are, let's just say you're a digital artist, you draw. You're an illustrator. I love illustrators. I love drawing. If you're a digital illustrator, try giving away a few pieces of art and see what happens. It doesn't cost you anything. Yes, your time, yeah, you can make that argument. The fact of the matter is, once you're done the giveaway, you have the availability to sell it because there was interest. Now, I'm not going to get into scarcity in this one, but maybe after I do the giveaway, I will get into the concept of scarcity and why it works, or how to employ scarcity. We'll look at that after that. And this is my final point, bundling down. You know when you go and get a phone and they say, well, sir, you have to take cable and internet. And I say, dude, I just want a cell phone, man. Why do I need cable and internet? It's a bundle. I'm like, well, how much is the phone? It's $100. How much is it with cable and internet? $75. What? Why? Okay, fine. Give me the internet and give me the cable. Fine. I don't even own a TV, but fine. You can bundle these products now. If I put a coffee stand, a crib board, and a blanket rack together, and I give you a deal, again, I'm just squashing my margin. I'm not winning. If I bundle together 3 plugins, which then might lead you to more plugins because you realize, oh, I would like the emulation of that compressor. Oh, I really like what they did with that EQ. Let's use that EQ and get a limiter. You guys don't need to know what these fancy items are, these hardware emulations are, these plugins. That doesn't matter. My point is, if you have digital items, you can bundle them without affecting your margins, in a sense. Because again, if we look at OPEX, operating expense, the operating expense for your digital art should be nominal. For your courses should be nominal. For your plans should be nominal, etc. I can keep going, but I don't want to. If that is the case and you are already developing these items, group them together. Give people a reason to buy more than one. Hey, one plan is $10, but if you buy 2, it's $17.50. $15. Guess what? Most people would go, yeah, okay, I probably have 2 plans. If you have a plan they want, you probably have 2 plans that they would be interested in. There's another way to run a bundle. If you buy one, you have 7 days to buy another for 50% off. Again, we come back to the trial concept of you can let people try your stuff out and then let them bundle down or bundle up, whatever you want to call it. Bundle up sounds like I'm in the winter, so I try and avoid that. When it comes to the trial thing, just be aware that you really have to understand, this goes for bundling as well, you really have to understand whether your item is an end user, an end or a stationary piece in a process, or if it's a continual process item. If it's an EQ, which affects the noise from the air conditioning, the noise in my voice from that, all that stuff, guess what? The EQ is applied on all of my different audio items. But if you are going to give me a sample that Kanye is going to use, probably not going to use that more than one time. So if you're going to give someone a trial to your course, be aware they can record the course. That's not a win for you. So be aware of what you're putting trials on. But because of the hardware being transferred into software, or a tangible becoming intangible in this digital space, you have the capacity to give people trials like you never did before. You have the capacity to give them bundles, and you really have the capacity to give them value. Now, to wrap up, number 1, hardware replaced by software means no limit to your inventory, lower cost to create and carry, and no limits to improvements. Number 2, deals seem more appealing. Think of the psychology, 90% off, nice. And it doesn't affect your operating margin. Pretty tasty as well. Number 3, pay what you want. Use this strategy. I don't even care if you use this strategy for physical items. In most cases, that's not a great plan, but the digital items, tremendous. Go check out, I don't know if I should tell you the name. It's kind of racy. kind of vulgar. Just look up pay what you want, digital items. You'll see some examples. 4, giveaways cost you $0 in material inputs. Keep that in mind. Giveaways create value for you and your customers and your brand. That's important, guys. It really is important. People want to run these giveaways with these shoddy items, terrible items. No one cares about that item that you're giving away. Give away something that you would be happy to receive. And then that way, if people don't win, well, I wanted that. I'd be willing to buy that. Right, now you have someone to sell to. Different weekly brew, Rick. Focus up. Final point, bundles make more sense. Consider trial periods. Consider delayed bundling, 7 days to upgrade or purchase another at a discount. Those are my points for this week. Next week, we're going to hopefully talk about the results of the giveaway with a small audience, how scarcity works after a giveaway, how to actually employ giveaways when people approach you to do a giveaway with you, collaborate with you. That's a good one. And I have a couple of more points that just aren't coming to mind right now. So anyways, guys, that's me done for this week. Thank you for tuning in. If you guys made it this far, let me know down in the comments what you thought. Let me know if you find a couple of pay what you want things, and if you try to employ it, how does it go for you? How does it work out? We're going to find out this week when I put a couple of plans on the website. Probably a complex one, probably a simple one. See where they go. And we'll catch up in a week's time. All right? Ciao.